I'm not convinced that God would want you to feel anyone's pain, including their illness. God sometimes gives someone a very quick indicator. People call that, word of knowledge, that sometimes a part of their body might feel something. But I don't think that's the general thing that God wants us to really feel that. Therefore, a strategy to manage it, I think ultimately God can direct and lead us in different ways for different people. Some people are sensors, feelers, intuition, direct, hearing God's voice in your mind. I think developing the ability to really know the Father's heart and then only choosing to do what we see the Father doing is the strategy. Therefore, I think some of the other ways he speaks to us, dreams and other things, would begin to fade away into the fact that we just know the Father's heart. We are one with him. We're indicating that's the case. So sometimes, yes, there may be an indication that God is trying to get your attention, and that might be the way he gets the attention. But, I don't really believe ultimately that God wants us to be feeling someone's pain in such a way that it's debilitating. And I think ultimately in praying for someone, God can help us minister to them out of his heart rather than actually taking on what they're feeling. And I think there's a danger in then, like in this situation, fighting a spirit of death. Well, in a reality, death has already been conquered, and therefore administrating health into the situation, life in the situation, is coming out of the positive rather than focusing on the negative. A lot of the old way of doing this, and this feels like an old spiritual warfare way of doing this, is not necessarily how God wants us to do it in relationship with him. So I would just I would not be looking to pursue that. I wouldn't want that myself. If someone is operating like that, then help them mature into a different way of being able to experience and know God's heart without necessarily having to go through the heaviness and weight of all that. I think ultimately God's desire is for us to live in love, joy, and peace. And I don't think having those type of experiences as a norm would be that. Sometimes, yes, God will get our attention, but it should be a very short-lived thing. Make sure the whole concept is not wrapped up in a wrong view of how God operates and God's thinking. So that is our expectation. It's like, well, God doesn't speak to me. Well, how do you expect him to speak to you? Well, I read the Bible. Well, that's the only way he's going to speak to you if that's your expectation. Make sure that that's not the expectation, that God can communicate in a much more clear way, or we really, really know his heart because we're intimate and close with him. Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. We really appreciate you taking the time. If you enjoy these videos, would you please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe? It really does help. Thank you very much.